Hello everyone, this is Soumya, working as an assistant professor, Department of Zoology, Government First Grade College, Vijayanagar, Bangalore. In this video, I'm going to explain chordate characters and classification. Well, chordates, when we look into the animal system, animal kingdom, we'll categorize the animals into two different categories based on the presence or absence of the notochord, that is, non-chordates and the chordates. This is otherwise called the vertebrates and invertebrates. So, of course, when we look into the evolutionary process, we'll see in between the non-chordates and the chordates, there is another class of individuals which exists, that is hemichordates. So here, to give an introduction about the chordates, the phylum Chordata, the name Chordata, the word Chordata means the individuals which is having a chorda, a string or a cord-like structure. Uh, Eight means the bearing, the animals which bears a string-like structure in their lifetime. So that is a dorsal tubular nerve cord or a notochord. It what we call them as the chordates. When we look into the chordates, of course, first we'll concentrate mainly on the basic chordate characters. Well, the phylum Chordata was first created by the Balfour in the year 1880. So the basic chordate characters are, these are the three fundamental basic chordate characters. Those are the presence of notochord. In this picture, you can actually make out the presence of notochord, dorsal tubular nerve cord, and the pharyngeal gill slits. So these are the very basic characters of the chordates. Well, the notochord. So the notochord, noton means the back, cord means a cord-like structures which resides in the back of an organism is called the notochord. So the notochord is a rod-like elongated elastic structure. So just lies just above the alimentary canal and independent immediately lies beneath the nerve cord. So this notochord lies above the intestine or digestive system and lies beneath the nerve cord. So that is the notochord. So in case of the chordates, notochord may persist throughout the life, or in some individuals, this notochord will be replaced by the vertebral column in higher chordates. Whereas in some of the lower chordates, the notochord will be vanished in the adult forms. That we'll see in some chordates which will undergo retrogressive metamorphosis. They will lose certain advanced characters during the metamorphosis process. Well, that is the notochord. Next, we'll move on to the dorsal tubular nerve cord. So, this dorsal tubular nerve cord, which lies in the dorsal position of an organism, and it is hollow cylindrical tubular structures. This dorsal tubular nerve cord also persists throughout the life of an organism, or in some organisms, in case of the higher chordates among the vertebrates, we can see the anterior end of the dorsal nerve cord will cephalize or will undergo cephalization, forming the brain region, and the posterior end of it forms the spinal cord. This happens in the higher chordates. So the dorsal tubular nerve cord is actually derives from the infolding of the mid dorsal strip or the neural ectoderm. Neural ectoderm. Yeah, that is the dorsal tubular nerve cord. Usually, the dorsal tubular nerve cord starts from the anterior end of the organism and ends to the posterior end of the organism. Next, we'll move on to the pharyngeal gill slits. The pharyngeal gill slits, it has got some alternative names like pharyngeal gill clefts are there. We'll call that as pharyngeal gill clefts, branchial clefts, branchial pouches. So these are the various names will be called for pharyngeal gill slits. The pharyngeal gill slits, the formation of the pharyngeal gill slits happens by the the lateral outpushing of the endoderm of the pharynx meet and fuse with the ectodermal inpushing from the exterior. The intervening walls will be broken down and then forms the gill clefts. So this is how the gill clefts will be formed. Even the gill clefts will not be persist for all the organism throughout their life, because in case of the higher vertebrates, the pharyngeal gill clefts will be later on replaced by the lungs, and gill clefts is taking up in the two parts, that is, they are involving in the respiration. Along with that, they are also helpful in the filter feeding mechanism in certain lower chordates. So these are the three basic chordate characters that we do see in case of the chordates. And all these characters will not persist in these chordates throughout their lifetime, because mainly the dorsal tubular, the notochord and the pharyngeal gill clefts will be replaced completely during the metamorphosis process in many of the chordates, and even in the higher chordates, these notochord and the pharyngeal gill clefts will be completely vanished. Uh, that will be replaced by the some other components, whereas a dorsal tubular nerve card will be there, uh, that will get metamorphosized, or that will get complex to form the brain and the spinal cord. But whereas in case of the certain hemichordates, the dorsal tubular nerve card will also get diminished during the course of metamorphosis. So these are the basic chordate characteristic features. Along with that, there are certain common characteristic features are there in chordates. That is the axiate organization. Axiate organization, in the sense, here the animal will be divided into, or that can be categorized into anterior and posterior ends of the body. The top end of an organism is the anterior end, usually which bears the head and the head region, whereas the posterior end, which is having the tail, ends up with the tail, is the posterior end of the organism. This kind of axation or axiate or the polarization exists in case of chordates. Next is the bilateral symmetry. Bilateral symmetry is also a common character in case of the chordates. Bilateral symmetry is nothing but when we cleave an organism in a particular median axis, we'll get the mirror images of an organism. That is what we call the bilateral symmetry. Next is the triploblastic condition. Triploblastic condition is the case in which the organism will be having three germ layers or three dermal layers, that is ectoplasm, endoplasm, and the ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. So these are the three dermal layers that will be there in case of triploblastic condition. Next is the coelom. These chordates are true coelomates, eucoelomates. These organisms will be having a true coelom within them. So they'll be. This is also a common characters in case of chordates. And metameric segmentation. So metamerism is nothing but the continuous repetition or arrangement of uh, segments. So repetitively. So those are called the metameric segmentation, and the process is metamerism. So the metameric segmentation is present in case of the chordates. Next is the organ system. So these chordates, since these are the very advanced, this chordate includes all the advanced organisms, they exhibit organ system organization. So these are the common characters of chordates. Along with that, there are certain general characters of phylum chordates are there. Those are chordates are usually aquatic, aerial, and terrestrial. So with respect to their habitat, they are aerial, aquatic, and terrestrial. They occupy all the existing habitats in the planet Earth, and they are free living, and some are parasites in nature. The body of these animals is usually from small to large. There is a huge variation in case of the chordate animal. We can also find the smallest chordate and the biggest chordates can be seen. The size will be varying from small to large, and these are bilaterally symmetrical and metamerically segmented individuals. And there will be having a post anal tail. See, the anal tail will be there in some of the chordates throughout their lifetime, but in some of the chordates, the tail will be replaced, or that won't that will not be there in the adult form. Like how even we the humans, we are from the primate, we are the last individual which comes under the order primata. All the other individuals which are there in the primata, they are having the tail, but we don't have it, because of in the course of evolution, we lost the tail. So, and the next chordatic feature or the general characteristics of chordate is the presence of the exoskeleton. Almost all the chordates have the exoskeletal structures are there. So, body is triploblastic, as I was explaining about the triploblastic condition. So, there are three dermal layers are there: ectoderm, endoderm, and the mesoderm. So these are all eucoelomate, which is having the coelom within them, and notochord is always present in them. Either that will be replaced by the vertebral column in the major vertebrates, and there will be a cartilaginous bony endoskeleton will be there. Either that will be cartilaginous or bony that supports the entire body of an organism, and that will also helpful to give a perfect shape for the organisms. That is the endoskeletal structure. And always there will be a pair of pharyngeal gill slits. At least at any lifetime of the individual, they will exhibit pharyngeal gill slits. Whether it is an embryonic condition or in the adult condition, we can see there will be the presence of pharyngeal gill slits in case of the chordates. And digestive system is complete, starts from the mouth and ends with the anus. And we can also see the blood vascular system. They'll be having the complete blood vascular system, the heart, the sorry, the what's that? The venous system, arterial system. So the complete vascular system will be present in these case of chordates. Excretory system, since these are the higher class of animals, we can expect all the advanced characters. So the excretory system is also present in these individuals. In case of the excretory system, we can see three different kinds of kidneys in the chordates. That is a pronephric, mesonephric, and metanephric. We can find out all the evolutionary pathways in the kidneys in case of chordates. And the nerve card will be there. It is a dorsal tubular nerve card. Of course, later on that will be metamorphosized to brain and the spinal cord, but that will be there for the lifetime of the organisms. And in these chordates, we can see the sexual dimorphism. Sexes are completely separate. In very some exceptional cases, rare exceptions, actually, we can see certain hermaphrodites where they can carry or they're having both the sexes within them. Well, these are the fundamental characters, common characters, and certain general characters of chordates. So next we'll move on to the classification in case of chordates. So in order to classify the chordate, of course, the phylum Chordata um, is subdivided into two subgroups, that is acraniata and the craniata. Craniata is nothing but the individuals which are not having the cranium or the skull box. So the cranium is nothing but it is a skull or skull box. It's otherwise called the brain box, which actually protects the brain. So that kind of cranium is not there in certain individuals, and that those individuals will be grouped under acraniata. And the craniata in this, or it is otherwise called vertebrata. Here the organisms will be having the brain box. The acraniata will be further subdivided into two subphylum, that is the Urochordata and Cephalochordata. So the Urochordates are the one, Euro means the tail, chorda means the cord. So here in case of this Urochord, the notochord and the nerve cord are present only in the tail region. In a very minute swimming tadpole individuals will see these. So those are the urochordates. So next are the cephalochordates. So in case of the cephalochordates, we can see the presence of notochord and the nerve cord structures from anterior to the posterior regions. So in case of the urochordate, the notochord and the nerve cord structures are confined only to the tail region, whereas in case of the cephalochordata, the notochord and nerve cord will be present from anterior region to the posterior region. Among the craniates, it has got two subphylums, that is Agnatha and Gnathostomes. Agnatha is nothing but A means lacking. So these individuals, these are fish-like vertebrates without true jaws and paired limbs. So the Agnatha, A means lacking, Gnatha means jaws. The individuals which are not having a true jaw and paired limbs will be classified under agnatha. And gnatha stomes are the one which are having true jaws and paired limbs. So agnatha is again classified into two classes, that is ostracoderms and the cyclostomes. Ostracoderms include several extinct orders of ancient, primitive, heavily armored Paleozoic world's first vertebrates. So those are collectively called as ostracoderms. Examples are the Petraspis Thelodus, or the example for ostracoderms. These are the extinct individuals which are actually armored by the heavy scute-like structures. Next ones are the cyclostomes. Cyclostomes, here in case of the cyclostomes, the body is eel-like, long, cylindrical, smooth, without scales, jaws and lateral fins. But in case of the cyclostomes, the mouth will be circular, round, and that is suctorial in nature. And we can see 5 to 16 pairs of gill slits, and heart is two-chambered, and these are parasites, and otherwise can be called as the scavengers. So these are the cyclostomes. The individual cyclo means the circular, stoma means the mouth. The individuals which are having the circular mouth, and usually these are parasitic in nature, and some are scavengers, are grouped under the cyclostomes. So the next subphylum is the gnathostomes. As I said, gnathostomes are the one which are having true jaws and limbs. So the gnathostomata is divided into two superclasses, that is the Pisces and the tetrapods. So among the Pisces are the fishes. So among the fishes, we can see three classes, that is the Placodermi, Chondrichthyes, and the Osteichthyes. Whereas in case of the Placodermi, all the individuals are extinct actually. So those are the primitive earliest jawed fishes of Paleozoic with bony head shield uh, and full-sized functional gill are there in these placoderms. But those placoderms are not extinct today, are not existing today. They are all extinct individuals in case of the placoderms. Next, other classes are the chondroichthyes and the osteichthyes. In case of the chondroichthyes, the internal endoskeleton is cartilaginous in nature. Examples are the shark, echinus, trigon, prestes. So those are the examples for the chondrichthyes and the osteichthyes in which the internal endoskeleton is bony in nature. Example, hippocampus, labiorohita, cartla, so on and so forth. And the next superclass is the tetrapoda. Tetrapods are nothing but the individual which are having four legs. Tetra means four, poda means legs. So the individuals or the organisms which are having four legs are grouped under tetrapods. Here, in case of the tetrapods, we'll come across different classes like amphibia, reptiles, apes, and mammals. All the higher vertebrate classes are grouped under the tetrapods. So this is the classification of chordata. So to summarize the whole thing, in this video, we discuss the basic chordatic characters like the presence of notochord, dorsal tubular nerve cord, and the pharyngeal gill slits. Whether that may be persist throughout the life of an organism, or that will be degenerate in the later days, or that will be replaced by some other in the higher vertebrates. And we also dealt with the common characters of chordates and the general characters of chordates like the cryptoblastism, bilateral symmetry, and their habitat, the size of an organism, the reproduction, circulatory system, so on and so forth. And at last, we discussed the classification of chordates up to classes. Well, these are the references that I referred for this content. Thank you.